Welcome to the Roll for Crit podcast, the official podcast for rollforcrit.com. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes. That was very dramatic.
Yes, indeed.
And I liked it. I hope we keep it for the entire show.
No, not anymore.
Okay.
You ruined it. What's happening in board game history?
I got a real good board game history factoid for you.
Is it Easter Special Edition version?
Now it is. It now is. Do you know the game Settlers of Catan?
Yes, I do.
This is fascinating. This is a true historical board game fact. Originally, that game was Easter themed. It was the Settlers of Easter Island. They changed it because they realized there was already a place called Easter Island that had nothing to do with Easter, and they didn't want to confuse consumers.
I like that they kept the sheep, though.
Yep, they kept the sheep. You were trading chocolate eggs and bunnies.
But the bunny was the robber, right? Wasn't
Yep.
he? He was stealing your eggs.
That's what it is. Or it could have been more, they had other religious aspects that it was controversial.
Zombie Jesus and stuff.
They didn't want to include that kind of thing. Anyway, look that up. It's true. That's your board game history for today. We're always trying to help you learn things. And speaking of learning things, we're going to learn about what news we're going to talk about today. In fact, there's not much.
Oh, really?
Well, last week or so, GAMA 2016 took place in Las Vegas.
And for those that don't know, GAMA Trading Show is really a big, trading show for retailers, people who sell the board games more.
Some designers and publishers, a lot of publishers.
So there's a lot of more focus on really showing what's out there and how to attract people to said games, or even teaching you that these games are around.
Right.
Than maybe as we see, often with Gen Con and stuff, all the new hotness and crazy stuff.
So they showed off some new stuff, but
Right.
it wasn't really a news. Just like you're saying, we don't have much to say about it. There wasn't a lot of crazy big announcements like we got even from Toy Fair just earlier this year.
But there are plenty of videos for you to watch of other people in case you want to see maybe how a game is played. I know our friend Neil sent us a video of what was the Cthulhu racing game called? I'm blanking off the top of my head.
Fast and Fathagan?
Yes,
just say it.
Which is interesting enough, and I remember watching it, laughing at it because the cars all had puns, with old one stuff. So, but definitely it's something for you to check out.
There was some other cool stuff. Let's see that I kind of liked. We saw from Bezier Games their new, it's kind of a spin-off of Terra, which was the same idea as Terra. It's a Wits and Wagers style trivia game, but now just focused on America, called America. I think,
I love Terra when we played it, and I really need to get a copy. The only reason I haven't is because I already have so many other games backlogged. Two, I think it's a great idea for them, not just because I think America's great or something. I think what they should do is...
That's why I like it.
What I want them to do, and I hope they follow through with this, is that there is them one for other places. So then it'd be very interesting to be okay, let's try out China or something. And then that would be great for classrooms too, to be let's say, because I know when I was more grade school, usually second grade was American history and stuff. Then you could actually have those board games specific to the classroom.
I really like that for as a kid, if you had that kind of a game. It makes learning fun.
No. Well, like I said, when we played it, it was learning. There was learning involved, but I didn't feel like it was just how when you have a poorly done video game that's just designed for learning and not really fun, you're okay.
Yeah, you don't want it to be Elmo's letter adventure.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of good though.
But so it was. I think Terra does an amazing job with balancing learning and actually game mechanics.
Let's see, Cryptozoic was there. All the big ones were there, but they were showing off the new Rick and Morty games a little bit, which we've talked about. The Attack on Titan deck building stuff, which we've talked about.
Very excited about that, since I think they were burned a bit from the Naruto deck building game. It's very nice to see them going back, because they have, let's face it, this is probably one of the biggest animes to come out recently. And I think they shouldn't have wasted the property. I'm glad they're using it.
Right, for sure. They're definitely going to get their money's worth on it with at least two.
Oh yeah, and we played a very prototype version of the board game one,
which we really liked.
Yeah, we both found to be a very fresh breath.
It was a fresh breath of air.
Thank you.
It was like a Tic Tac of board games for us.
Orange, and you always have some in your pocket?
Yeah, orange, and you just eat 12 at a time, and they go down smooth.
Well, for the Titans, the humans are that.
Oh, that's right. Ooh, that'd be a good version of the game. You're the Titan, and you eat the figures.
Now I imagine it
That's
though.
so creepy.
No, I imagine one of those early kids games, and I You know, like elephant to elephant or something, like.
Yes.
But
Or like the, you know, with the like Dr. Creepy or whatever, you make your own
make your own
potions.
little human.
Make your own humans and eat them.
Oh god.
Vor. Yellow had a game I thought looked cool called Sea of Clouds, which is original, which is it's kind of like Skies of Arcadia if you ever played that. A pirate game, but you're in the sky. So that's something that's. So there was also some new stuff, not just expansions. I feel like I watched something else, but I guess not. I mean, I did. There were a bunch of new cool things.
Like we said, there were a lot of videos. So, you know, check out and see what...
Yeah, there are plenty of things. Not a lot of it was very new is the thing. More of it's just kind of looking in depth at stuff.
How many of the things we just said did we say, we played this before,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about this before. That's not a bad thing, it's just, you know, it's just whatever you expect.
But yeah, it would. My favorite part from what I saw was the opening when they had a buffet and free drinks for all the people there.
Yes, I know. Free stuff is great.
Someday we need to.
And don't forget the free bag they got too.
Oh, that's right. All their goodies that they got.
But
we'll get there someday. Next year in Jerusalem, as I like to say, sort of my catchphrase. So that's,
you've been saying sort of my catchphrase at least like 6 times today.
You know why?
Because it's sort of your
Sort of my catchphrase. Next up, that's GAMA, GAMA 2016. Again, check out the best thing, because we can't link to all those videos, is just to go to our website on the news page and just search GAMA, and you will find a lot of things from Dice Tower, Board Game Geek, and other sources.
It's almost as if we have a whole site dedicated
It's
to news
really
in general.
marvelous.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to talk about Star Realms has already received sort of an alternate version in Cthulhu Realms, as well as a few expansions of its own. It turns out they are now releasing, or preparing to release, another new edition called Hero Realms. Any guesses? It's fantasy themed.
Hold on. Noir theme.
Nope, it's fantasy themed. Good guess though. And essentially, instead of spaceships battling, still a deck building game, still same basic rules, but your heroes, your fantasy characters, you're having more Dungeons and Dragons style events and encounters. The other thing that I thought was really perked my ears up at this news was
they aren't out like this. It's because something has perked his ears.
Was that there's going to be sort of a mission mode, a cooperative mission mode in this, where from game to game, you play with friends and actually have a goal, and your deck, you can actually improve and gain experience as the game goes on. Again, going back to the RPG fantasy kind of realm.
Honestly, I mean, the mission thing sounds cool, but otherwise, honestly, I'm a little disappointed. Mm-hmm. Mostly because just before Star Realms, they released Epic, which is fantasy themed. So I'm like, you have your fantasy themed small deck. I mean, it would have been a little cooler if, you touched up on maybe, like I said, joked around noir or like actual superheroes or something,
Well, my thinking is
I'm sure I'm still gonna love it. Like I said, it's just more of like a small disappointment. Because I mean, if you look at Epic, it is the same thing. Like there's 4 groups that all interact with each other.
Well, Epic is pretty.
No, it's a different card game, but I mean, like thematic, like sort of.
Well, my guess is that this is not taking that many resources up. So I would say if you're a little bummed out at this point they did something else, this probably isn't really in place of something else. It's probably more of a side project while they get their next big thing ready.
Well, for me, I just assumed because judging by the creators and stuff, he just enjoys the fantasy theme. In which case, I can't argue with that because usually if you enjoy something, it's easier for you to put more effort in and make it look good. So.
And I'm sure there's a whole sect of people who aren't into sci-fi who will really want to buy this.
I do love Star Realms, so I mean this is definitely perfect.
I think I liked Epic a little more than Star Realms, maybe.
I'm actually disappointed we haven't played that enough.
Yeah.
Mostly because I got enough for a cube and we haven't had that. 8 people. I want to do that. No, I definitely agree with you because it's like playing Magic, but I never felt like nearly as much as like. A bad card.
Also, we might be starting to border on dangerous territory of Munchkin. I always worry when there's more than 2 versions of one game. Are we going to be seeing, like you said, Noir Realm, Farming Realms, whatever realms, Magic Realms? I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I said I just want maybe like something different.
But what would be cool is if they were all sort of just interchangeable expansions, and you just because right now if you want to play with more than 2 players, you got to buy 2 Star Realms boxes. Now maybe you buy 1 Star Realms and 1 Hero Realms, and you can mix and match.
I mean, cool. As far as I know, assuming it's mechanically the same, you could do that. The only challenges then is, let's say I'm trying to no, I'd say the bigger challenges is because terminology, you can all as a group say this means this. I mean, we've done it plenty of time. With something like, okay, I'm trying to build up the blob race from Star Realms. If I only have one of those in there and the other half, so it's like, that's the challenge. You've made 8 groups in there instead of 4.
That's true.
That's the only issue. I would think maybe what would be more interesting to do, like still possible ideas, maybe take, if you have 2 of each set, take all the blobs and machine race from like Star Realms and take 2 different ones from there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That might be more of an interesting style to work with. And that way you still have the balance for each group. It's only 4 groups you're playing with.
Although, but then it still wouldn't allow you to play with more than 2 players though, right? That's the only thing.
I have to relook at this.
Because it's one set is 2. Second set is 4.
So no, if you did that, no, you still play with up to 4 people because you're using the blobs from 2 sets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you need my idea used 4 star sets, 2 Star Realms, 2 what's Hero Realms.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out. I'm sure that's going to be coming out later this year, and we'll definitely give it a shot. White Wizard Games, we've liked their output so far. They just put out some new stuff for both Star Realms and Epic.
I think one of the reasons I love them is what it seems to be from their games design is we're going to make an awesome game. I mean, we're just talking about only 2. At first, that sounds bad, but it's like you can buy this really cheap thing, have a lot of fun, and you just buy more copies for more people, which makes it really easy to customize really what fits your play group. And the cards, like each game I think has been in a way that fits, like one's designed really for drafting, one's designed for deck building, and really I think shines very well in that.
And I think they're a good level of depth for more invested gamers, but very accessible to new players as well.
And on a quick side note, going along with, you said terminology.
Terminology.
I think it's fine for them to, even if something is like attack, like let's say in Star Realms they used, I can't think of a keyword that actually used a specific space, but like lasers or something, and they use arrows for the other one. I think it's fine for interchanging, because I mean, sure, for maybe a younger audience, it's hard to confuse, but like, for example, the DC deck building game, or actually the Cerberus deck building game, they technically, if you look on the back, it says Heroes, Anime, Sport version, because even though it says like these are supervillains, they'll call them like arch enemies or techniques in the other sets, but really it's still an equipment or superpower. So even if the word's different, you can still easily customize them. Hell, even the Alien game, which Legendary, which has no points on the monsters and stuff, you can come up with rules to mix them. So I don't think terminology should hold you back.
I think that's more personal for me, that I will just get confused, or even not as much. Even if I don't get confused, just you lose a little bit of the streamline, the elegance of it when you have to. It's harder for new people too if you have to be reminding them, oh, that laser is also an arrow.
Well, you shouldn't jump them into the mix.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I guess for me, I like it when everything is. No,
I understand you, and certain things that's why if you can make a keyword something a bit more generic. Yeah. Like I said, it's just attack.
Or if there's like both lasers and arrows are ranged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you should, but I'm saying you shouldn't kill your theme because. Like it's still possible.
You can make it work. You can struggle through it. So that's Star Realms news, and that was GAMA news we talked about earlier. You got all the news. That was it. Hope you liked that news. But there actually are some pretty cool Kickstarters that.
Oh yeah, no, 2 of them I would super excited about.
Are newsworthy.
Yeah.
And you're gonna bring 2 of them to us first, and I'm gonna tell you which one you're gonna bring to us first, and it's the one. Both of us are probably excited for Battle for Soul.
Yeah, I'm sure we talked about this very early on because I think I got it right when we started Roll for Crit. And this is from Rob Burke Games, the same guy who brought to us Dragon Magi and
Operation Faust.
Thank you. I always mix up that one. And we've loved his games, and this is the one that actually started it. And to me, it's been probably one of my favorite dual-playing games.
2-player.
Yeah. In which you play, one side plays heaven, one side plays hell, and you're actually fighting over souls in the center.
And now this is the 2nd edition.
Plus an expansion. and of course some promos as well. And which is really cool because they're doing a whole new reprint with whole new cards too. And if you do just the expansion, you can get all the additional cards stuff as well.
How much exactly has changed?
Rule-wise, nothing really.
Okay.
It's more of, I think, he's making a new reprint because a lot of people have been asking for it.
And it hasn't been really available widely,
Right.
so now that he's got a little more...
And there's also a special edition, collector's edition, which has metal tokens and stuff. And the expansion, I know, actually your angels and the archangels and devils, which you can get. So both heaven and hell can get the big angels and devils to help you.
Okay.
They actually get tokens to help influence things and stuff. Huh. So new rules.
Okay.
So I'm really excited for this. This is definitely, I got it beforehand. I was lucky to get it. I didn't get it through the Kickstarter, but he had some leftovers, and I was lucky to get a copy that way. So if you don't have this is one I really suggest you take a look into. This is definitely one of my top favorite two-player games out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. We haven't played it as much lately, but for two-player games, really fun. The artwork is really cool.
And honestly, that's mostly just because all our two-player games usually get hit.
That's true, but it's just a really cool theme, and it feels very. I almost want to say. I don't want to say old school, but it's kind
the
of
artwork
like that.
is
the artwork.
Yeah,
but in the mechanics too. It almost reminds me of
it actually feels like the pull
kind of card game techniques.
And by the way, I just realized it's important to say that this is one of my favorites, considering Draco Magic's about dragons, and I love dragons. So if this beats that out, which I do love that one too.
Yeah, there's good games, good themes. I think it's the second edition that may or may not come with the expansion is $45. If you can get just the expansion for cheaper. Or
18.
So you can check out those details on your own, but worth your money. And next up we have Agents and Operatives.
Yes.
The heck is this?
This one I'm actually excited about because this comes from the people who one of the first Kickstarters ever backed, Secrets of the Lost Tomb.
Lots of history going on.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm excited. It's two are
settle down, breathe.
But we've talked about their game, how we love it. It was mechanically a lot of fun, and thematically, it hit the thematic mark, dead on. Mm-hmm. And this game is not related. This is actually a whole new property, so it's not. Finally, they're doing something new. Okay. I know you mentioned earlier, you're like, is this another expansion?
12 Secrets of the Lost Tomb Kickstarters.
But in this game, you play as one of three groups. It's a worker placement with secret identity. Okay. You're either the agents, the operatives, or mercenary. The agents, operatives are trying to kill each other. Mercenary is freelance. Okay. In the game, you have your roles hidden, but you'll be using agents. Pretty much, you get your own. I guess I should call them agents.
Operatives.
Spies.
Okay.
To put on locations which give you abilities or trigger effects, or maybe get you more powerful equipment and stuff. And then you can attack other people and actually look at their cards, so you can see whether they're friend or foe. Mm. And you actually have a health tracker, in which you can attack your people if you're not sure.
So can you die?
Yes and no. What happens is if your health hits 0, it's more like your organization collapsed or your base. So you're more like a rogue operative now. Oh. So you can still affect the board game and take slots from opponents and stuff, but you can't be nearly as strong. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea is you're trying to take out your opponents without taking out your friends.
That should be the tagline for the game.
I'm sure they have a better one.
They probably do. Yeah, no, that sounds cool. I don't know if we've ever talked about, but there aren't that many that I know of secret agent games, at least not that are that popular or successful. It's definitely a genre that could use some more juice.
Well, yeah, and I'm excited because we've already seen how they've been able to take thematic and hit it out of the park. So I feel like this worker placement hit on roll is going to hopefully get a chance to really hit that feeling of being, keeping your friends close to your friend and your enemies closer, kind of with spies.
I always keep my enemies 4 feet away.
Yeah, Neil's about 4 feet.
Yeah, Neil's about 4 feet away. That one goes for about $50, $49 to back that. And of course, there's always different tiers. I don't know. I don't need to clarify. People know how Kickstarter
We go
work.
for the base.
Yeah.
We tell them the base.
That's the base. Agents and Operatives. Link below for all of these. The next one has more history for me, personal history.
Man, this is just historic Kickstarter.
It really is. It really is. Even our one after that kind of too. There's a new Goonies card game, the Goonies Adventure card game. So way back in the while ago, I purchased the Goonies Blu-ray, which part of the reason I did so at the time, because it came packaged with the Goonies board game.
I know you.
It's not a good board game. It's very Candyland style. You roll and move on a board, draw cards, try to get across the thing. I wouldn't recommend it. Not a selling point for this Blu-ray. So it's kind of cool that they're doing this. This is more.
And even worse, you got the movie.
That's right. Don't write us angry letters, please. So this is the Goonies card game. This is much more. It's a cooperative game, and it reminds me a lot of Pandemic, kind of, and maybe a little Robinson Crusoe-y, but not nearly that
exploring
in depth. Basically, yeah, your team. There's no turns in the game.
You're the Goonies.
You're the Goonies, and everyone decides what to do at the same time, like Robinson Crusoe. So you have like multiple actions per turn between all of you. So you need to do this, you need to do this, or maybe we both need to work on this together. You're moving through different locations. You're playing cards. You're trying to get rid of cards that are bad, and then you're trying to find treasure, which is good. And sometimes you have cards that you need to like combine together, like Pandemic. So it looks like more of a gamer style game. One thing that I kind of like about it, which I could see as also as a criticism, is that it doesn't feel like this had to be a Goonies game. I definitely feel like, I get the sense, I could be completely wrong, but I get the sense from the rule set that this might have been a different game that had the Goonies license brought onto it. But I think for me, that's partly a good thing, because it means that the game was
built as a game first, not as
right, and it wasn't just let's make the
to a
Goonies
Blu-ray.
happen. Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking, sort of unrelated parallel. I know when I first came up, but if there'd be a game like, you know how a lot of times, sort of unrelated, how kids like will imagine things like.
I've never did that when I was a kid.
Like the floor is lava, or they'll see like something and pretend it's like a weapon, or see a thing as a monster. Like, is there a game that does that? Like the artwork actually is like a broom or something. You like, but it says like the sword of this, or like.
Is that what it's kind of what they do in the Goonies? Not really.
Well, I was more thinking like, you know how it's a group of
right.
And it was more jumping tangents, but
yeah.
No, I understand where you're coming from with going back to the Goonies board game, because I feel just because something wasn't made just for it isn't too bad. I mean, we've seen plenty of games that have been reskinned and been happy about. I mean, Legendary wasn't meant for Transformers, but if they came out with Transformers Legendary, I would be so happy.
Every chance you get.
There isn't a Transformers board game, so yes, I'm going to take every chance to try to get that hint across.
I'm with you. And of course there are, the Goonies have their abilities, and there's traps and stuff, and things happen. So it has that flavor in it. I'm excited because I think it looks more gamery. And that goes for $25.
So we're going to do this back to back, right? That
yes.
And the DVD.
We're going to have a special double feature playback for those two Goonies games. I bet there was an old one too when the movie came out.
So which one of those is Sloth?
I'm Chunk.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and finally, last game, which we talked about a while back when it was announced, is Coliseum, the new edition from Tasty Minstrel, which is finally now up. If you haven't played Coliseum, basically you're trying to put together the best gladiatorial show. You want to get the most points, attract the best people, round to round.
Yeah, we've played the game. It's a lot of fun.
The original edition.
The Kickstarter comes with 2 new scrolls for you to complete, which I think is like the Emperor's son's birthday and a wedding, which I think is great. It also comes with, I want to see, this exclusive sleeve, which to me makes me laugh because I think it was them trying to be like, people didn't like the cover, so they made another.
Right.
But still cartoony a little, so I don't think it's going to satisfy the people who are complaining.
Well, I will say I'm still not crazy about the cover artwork, but I very much like the artwork of the board and the tokens.
No, I love the board. I think the board looks really nice, and I'm just curious. I don't know if I assume it's not, but if there's less spaces or anything, do you know?
As far as I could tell, it looked the same.
I don't own it, so I don't really know the spacing. But no, I think it looks a lot better in terms of everything looks nicer and
clearer, more inviting. I thought the symbols were a little better designed. And there are a bunch of stretch goals, which I'm pretty sure they're going to hit for better pieces that have like characters drawn on them, and better, little Coliseum pieces to put, and even like little, not just cardboard
like
pieces.
When I saw if you haven't played the game, you can upgrade your arena through either growing it bigger, or you can actually get like podiums and special things.
Right.
In this, there's actually
it actually has like a little
meeples
podium,
and
yeah,
stuff, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely, I mean, even if you're not a fan of the artwork, like we said, Coliseum is definitely we agree to be a very solid game.
Yeah, no, and at the end of the day, like I don't have to look at that box. If I don't like it, that's fine. I'll put it on the shelf.
I mean,
what matters is the pieces.
I don't mind the cover, but like I said, that sleeve is not.
It's a little. It's a compromise. It's a compromise.
Well, no, the thing is, like, it's not that I don't like the sleeve. It's that I know it's not.
I know.
The compromise that the people who didn't like it before. But
that goes for $60. And
we forget to mention one of the reasons why it's probably $60. This one has metal coins.
Metal coins,
which is like wow.
I think they said retail is going to be like $80.
Ooh.
So.
Oh, so there is. Usually, I'm used to Kickstarters being around.
And this was a Kickstarter where there is one tier. You pay $60 for the game, and that's it.
I find that usually happens when it's anything from any of the major publishing companies.
Oh, yeah?
Usually 1 or 2 tiers.
I kind of like that. It's like, load off my mind. I don't have to...
Well, I like and don't like it. Because one, it's like, okay, you're literally just selling directly to us, so we don't have to buy it so you can get a bigger profit instead of buying it cheaper from someone else.
That's, I guess, I see what you're saying.
I mean, which I understand. But at the same time, I'm like, well, they're skipping the middlemen.
I like 3 to 5 tiers.
And then part of me sort of arguing in my head, like, well, they're skipping a middleman, so more money goes to them. So that's actually a good thing for us.
Yeah, why not? It's nice.
Well, us as in the gamers, not us as in Roll for Crit.
Right. Anyway, you can see all these links for these Kickstarters below. Let's go through a few viewer comments.
Oh, boy.
That's our official theme song for viewer comments. Wolf Sigma, good old friend of ours. We talked about Armada Wave 3 coming out, Star Wars Armada. They were a little disappointed with the new flotilla ship they announced, although it seems like they said these flotillas might be useful. They're hoping to see more squadrons and more large ships, and they're hoping that Wave 3 has more stuff that they haven't shown yet, which I wouldn't be surprised by because they only showed us this one thing. So usually when it's a wave, unless it's like 6 of these flotillas, I don't know. But I would guess that there might be more of the ships that you're hoping for.
No, I can understand his disappointment. One reason, because like I said, when we played, I don't know if the tournament scene's any different, considering we're still very casual, if anything, how it seemed to come down to who can destroy the other person's like little fleet ships first.
Right. For us, we had some strategic hurdles in that regard.
So if you had more interesting, fleet choices, or not fleet, squadron choices, I mean. And of course, the fleet ships are awesome. Like the small Imperial Raider's so cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Raphaelis13 commented on the Descent app that we talked about, which we were both really excited about. Mm-hmm. They were also very excited about, but don't have hopes up for the quests being adapted from the games to the app, which I can see because they're going to want you to buy those games and apps as well. But still looking forward to that coming out and trying that out. You can see all this
stuff. Can you play Descent without the base?
I don't believe so. I don't think
so you have to have the base.
Yeah, I don't think any of those expansions are standalone. I could very well be wrong, but...
No, because you need all the pieces.
You need
the map pieces.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they come with... Some of them probably have new maps.
Their own, but I'm sure they expect the old ones because...
There's doors.
I mean, you've seen the size of that.
Yeah.
Those expansions.
I mean, well, I guess theoretically, if you had enough... because they also come with new heroes and new monsters.
No, that's not the part. It's like I said, I think it's the map tiles. I expect because
let us know because we're not going to look it up. Descent players.
We haven't beaten our first core yet, and we probably won't.
We're far behind. And finally, this was just
we're terrible with Descent.
This was just nice. Brian Bunker commented on our X-Wing playback video and was satisfied and thanked us and said, as a new player playing X-Wing, they found it really helpful because that's what we were when we filmed that. We approached as new players, which I think maybe is a less tapped into section of videos for X-Wing. Usually it's the experts making those, not as much the noobs, which we still pretty much are.
Well, yeah, I definitely think this is interesting because I think X-Wing, well, first of all, thank you very much for the comment, but X-Wing fits into certain pilot games, which I would throw in Magic the Gathering, Netrunner. These are all games that have a moving meta. and very complex. So what happens is a lot of people are and they design it, will dive into it really deep and focus on this, which becomes really great if you really love it and you can make all new different techniques, and a video becomes outdated though within maybe a few months, and you might not know that. So it's maybe a little hard to jump into this thing. I mean, I know recently I read a thread on Reddit about
A Threadit.
I
call him that.
About someone saying like he used to play Android Netrunner and he's thinking of playing, because there's a bigger Magic scene where he is now, of playing that casually, and people are like, look, to be honest, casual Magic isn't as casual as you think. Like, most Magic players aren't board gamers too, because they only play Magic. Like, they mentioned how a casual Magic group just means no tournaments. You're going to go in there and you're still going to have people who are playing a lot of expensive and rare cards and combinations. Not that that's bad, it's just that means you need to put more time and focus.
Sort of the same thing with a lot of role-playing games, or even something like Descent, which we just talked about. Anything with that kind of ongoing releases, you're going to be devoting some time to it, and that's scary for us. But we're here to help. So maybe there's a video out there, that a game like that we haven't done a video on yet. We need to get to Netrunner. I think that's one that we could do. That's maybe coming up.
Well, we've only recently been able to play the game without the runner dying in 2 turns.
Yeah, it was a real struggle. But you played something recently.
Yes.
Talk to me about it.
Well, speaking of ongoing things being released, I played the DC crossover expansion, Watchmen. Which one? Loved the Watchmen in it.
Love the Watchmen.
But we use the Heroes Unite with it, because you can use any base.
So you also with the original base, or just Heroes Unite?
It works with any
no,
base.
No, but I'm asking, what did you guys play?
No, just the Heroes Unite base, because I didn't want to make things too complicated. And I know one of the things is that the villain, the traitor, is trying to run the deck out. So I'm like, by adding more cards in there, I'm making it way too unfair.
Well, okay, so what's Watchmen add exactly?
So what the Watchmen does is, if you don't know the DC deck building game, you should.
It's a deck building game with DC characters.
And there's usually super villain pile to beat. We actually have a video on it. You can watch. In this one, that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Instead, everyone gets a hidden role card that either tells you you're loyal or you're a traitor. There's one traitor, the rest are loyal. Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
And you also get a special Mastermind challenge plot, which for everyone, if you're loyal, doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
But if you're the traitor, they'll say something like, when you reveal, because if they'll tell you you can reveal under special conditions, which usually is like play 2 equipments, 1 superpower that costs 5 or more, and a hero.
Okay.
And if you're able
on
to
the same turn?
Yes, all on the same turn. If you're able to do that, you actually can reveal and add this challenge to the challenge lineup. There are 3 challenges to beat, and pretty much it makes it so you can run through the deck faster. Like,
so there's only one traitor.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And everyone else, how obvious is it, or hard is it, to find out who the traitor is? You weren't the traitor, were you?
No, I was not.
Okay.
To be honest, the traitor revealed really fast.
Okay. Well, that was my other question. Like, is it one of those things where there's not really a reason to stay hidden? Why would you want to stay hidden?
Well, first of all, because
people can attack.
No, this is what happened. Every Watchmen card that's added to the set pretty much is really for the traitor.
Oh, really?
Like, it all is like, destroy the lineup and then buy new ones. And because he revealed early, we bought every single one of them and made sure to destroy them. But the thing is, because we saw the traitor and we're like, we're good friends now. We don't have to worry.
Right.
We ran through the deck fast. We sort of lost track of our own objectives. And
so the traitor won.
Yeah, the traitor won. And the big issue that I had with it is we didn't want to look at the challenges, right? Because there's 3 challenges. You want to wait until you see what happens. The last challenge for both cards, I looked after the game, and both ask you to contribute, which means on your turn you can pretty much destroy a card from your hand to it before you can defeat it. 2 Watchmen cards. By the time we hit rank the 3rd challenge, we used up all the Watchmen cards.
That can be a problem.
I think there were 2 left. And it's like...
So you were done.
Pretty much. Someone had 1 card, which is great. The card's called Disintegration, in which if you can pay 15 power, you can either destroy a loyalist player, means they're out of the game, or a challenge. So you can either knock a player out of the game or kill a challenge. Our goal was like, we literally had a Hail Mary hoping like, okay, if you can draw that card, we win. The person didn't, so we lost.
How about I assume you have new character cards with role abilities, were those interesting?
Yeah, they were really cool. The only thing that stunk was the first challenge made it so all our card abilities were blank. So pretty much for a third of the game, we didn't have our super cards.
Check out this new thing in the game. You can't have it. Great expansion.
Like mine was, I love mine. I had Rorschach. Pretty much I was last and I was like, we gotta have Rorschach in this game.
Yeah.
Was I could discard a card, and then I can play the top card of anyone's deck. So pretty much I'm like, I don't like this card. Matt, what do you have?
Right, that's good.
Matt's is really good though. What his is one, attack cards are cheaper. It costs one less to buy. And anytime he plays a villain, he draws a card. So Matt just had villain after villain. And this is where the other big thing happened. Because it becomes cooperative and one villain, there's a card in there. Each set has a card. I don't know if you recall, I think in the base it was Suicide Squad. This one was Manhunter, in which sort of becomes much stronger for every Manhunter card you have.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Which is worthless for the mastermind to buy because he's like, I don't want one Manhunter floating around. But for Matthew, he's like, buying it. Like on one turn, he played a Manhunter, got like 20 power and stuff. It was just...
It seems like there's a running theme in DC deck building game of snowball powertrain possibilities.
Yeah, no, it definitely has that. What actually happened was really fun. For whatever reason, this is another thing that happened in the game. This is not the game's fault. He had a card that's from the villain set, which destroys the top card of everyone's main deck. So Matt played it, and I'm like, you know what? Well, do it, Matt. You should do it. It goes to destroy my card. It was a 7th cost card I just bought.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So overall, are you looking forward to playing it again, or like, maybe next time let's not play with it?
Well, yes and no. Here's my reason why. Yes, it was the trader mechanic was fun, but you definitely need to explain everything first. Like, no, like, look, make sure you understand. Everyone understands you need 2 Watchmen cards. Like, it sort of sucks not knowing that.
Yeah, I could see that.
The other thing is, the reason why I say no, really, about this, is the DC Deck Building Crisis Expansion 3 just came out, in which what they added in that, which I want to play with even maybe without the Crisis, is if you know how Dead of Winter everyone has the secret goals, they added that. And one of them is a trader card.
So it almost overwrites.
It's a better version in my mind. Because like in that one I was talking about, we were playing after, he's like, the trader, I didn't really do anything, I just did. I'm like, that would be better, because then you're like, well, I need 3 heroes to win and stuff, or this. Like one of the cards they actually add in the Crisis, one of the secret goals, is at the end of the game, you can only win if you have at least 19 letters in all the titles of your cards.
What? That is some weird... That is weird.
But yeah, so like my issue isn't that the trader mechanic's bad. It's that the new Crisis thing I think is better. I need to try it out to be sure, but like reading that, like I think it's going to make it a lot more. I'm wondering if they're mixing them somehow would be interesting. Like maybe take the trader card out of that, but everyone gets a secret roll and find out if they're a trader or not.
But I mean, it's pretty small and pretty cheap. So I guess if you're a big Watchmen fan,
well,
you might still want to check it out.
Overall, I think the big cards were really cool, and it wasn't like I think definitely if you were to mix the Watchmen thing in without the trader mechanic, it could still be fun.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, are there big rolls? They weren't just specific to the trader stuff. You could use them in any.
I would say outside of the trader cards, if you were to take that out and just like let's say I wanted to fight big villains, this set would still be great.
Okay.
Yeah. So overall, I think it's a fun set. The problem is they just made a new version that makes it better.
Well, if you like Watchmen, maybe check it out.
Yeah.
Still cool that they tried it. I like that they explore those.
No, but overall, I do think it's a success. Like that's my problem. Arrow, I don't think was. To me, Arrow doesn't play well with anything. It too little cards, and that's the one thing I did notice. We were talking about with all crossover cards in general, they're so small. Like you really don't feel that synergy you want sometimes, which sort of stinks because they have a good a good mechanic going. It's just when you only have like 10 cards or so shuffled in there.
Yeah, I can see. Like I really like the idea because it's cool. Like I'll just buy a little pack, but then like you said, if it doesn't come up as much, it's.
Well, that's why
cool.
The first one I think has been the most successful because it's the most generic. What it wants is punches and vulnerabilities and stuff and plays off that. So I think that makes it a much more appealing and entertaining one to shuffle in. what I want to try sometime is maybe taking all the 4 packs they have and shuffle them all into one deck. And that way really add some more interesting twists so you can jump
some
between all of them.
spice to the stew.
But we'll see what happens when we actually try out Crisis 3, whether I agree, my statement stands of a better trader mechanic or not. And of course, there's the Batman vs. Superman, which I have not been able to get my hands on yet. And that'll be interesting since we've played the Batman Joker a couple times.
I heard there's a movie about that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's actually unrelated to the movie.
Different characters.
Oh, that's what also happened.
It's a guy named Batman.
I didn't play it, but 2 of the people I played the Batman vs. Joker, and Batman finally won.
Oh,
it's
that's
the first time Batman's won in this house. So
okay, it's canon now.
Yeah, the Joker wins 3 times in Batman. That's the canon?
That's how Batman goes.
Well, sort of is. Isn't it usually he like loses
that's
and then
right.
he plans?
In the 3rd act, Batman, he has to be good until Batman wins. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as exciting if Batman just won right away. So that sounds fun. DC deck building, all those Crisis things.
Yeah, other than that, we didn't really play much because it was Easter weekend. So
right. Not a lot of stuff going on. I did want to end our show not really on a topic of the week because we realized we didn't have any. But I was reading online about people talking about their own personal board game vocabulary, terminology that their group invented that they use, kind of like an inside joke, but that you use to describe either a piece or just a type of play or a type of player. The one that I wanted to say, the one that we do have that I think is a story worth telling.
Our own or
yes, our own.
theirs? Okay.
Our own is a while back at some game night, someone made some game move. I don't even remember what we were playing, but our friend Garrett has made some comments calling it a walrus play.
Yes.
and I was like, what does that mean? And he says, oh, because walruses are really stupid. I thought that was the funniest thing I ever heard.
Well, there's another one we haven't been using much recently. I think partly because you moved, so you don't have it anymore.
What?
But we used to be like, you've earned the trophy.
Oh, the trophy. That's right.
We do have our own trophy for my house, but we don't really use it. It's right there.
We should explain. Well, it originated as I don't know how this started. It was the Get Out trophy. And someone did or said something stupid. You just handed them the trophy, like, you can leave.
Which was one of your sister's old soccer trophies, if I recall correctly.
It was an old, it wasn't soccer, it was softball.
Softball.
Yes, an old
which degraded.
It was like a 1996 girls softball trophy that broke in half eventually. So that's a good one. Yeah, the trophy. But I really want to I think walrus play should become a standard phrase among. I think we should start that movement from Roll for Crit.
Well, what might actually happen? Well, a new game will come out called Walrus Play.
That's good.
But
yeah.
The one thing I'm curious about, your own vocabulary, but in particular, I know it's because when you read that, you asked us, and we're like, what's our vocabulary? Besides Walrus Play, we're like, well, all our vocabulary is just names of people, like, that's a Neil turn, or why are you being such an...
That's just called being mean.
Yeah, like, that's all we do otherwise. We just generically call, like, oh, goddammit, stop being a willy.
Yeah, pretty much. Let us know.
Well, I don't know, like, people do that, like, there's a John. Like, not referring to you.
I don't know if that came from a person named John.
Maybe.
Let us know if your group has these things. I'm very curious to find out what they are, what their basis is, the history. Because I think it's kind of cool and funny.
Like, what were some of the ones you read? Like, when the person ended their turn, they went choo-choo?
Yeah, there's a Board Game Geek thread, and I'm sure Reddit has discussions and all other board game sites, but it's interesting stuff. It's sort of a anthropological study, if you will, and I won't.
With Professor Jonathan Estes.
If you want to check out games we talked about on today's show, like the DC deck building game, Star Realms, Terra, you can go to our website, rollforcrit.com, where not only do we sell those games great prices, we also have more videos just like this one, more news articles, stories, headlines, fun facts, and so much more.
And of course, we noticed we read some viewer comments. You can comment too. There's so many ways to do that. Starters, right down below. Really easy. And while you're at it, click that subscribe button.
And then there's email, rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And let's not forget all the other places. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Music to my ears.
We are everywhere.
Yeah, I hope you guys had a good Easter weekend. And stay tuned for a special April Fool's related playback
You can
this
tell how
Friday.
excited Jonathan is.
Well, remember last year we did Mario Party 10. So
What could it be this
see
year?
if you can try to guess what it's going to be. This is what you do when you guess.
But for now, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this has been Roll for Crit.